Well, as we got there and we did like our rip. So we went out, and the guys we were relieving took us, a handful of us, like the leadership, out and showed us. And I'm going to be honest with you, like, it's kind of fucking spooky. Like, we went out, like, we drove out and, like, parked and dismounted and just kind of showed the AO. And I got out, and there's like, random people walking and stuff. And, like, I was like, fuck, like, I'm about to get shot. This is crazy.
Aaron, thanks for coming today.
Yeah.
Let's start at the beginning. Tell me where you're from. Give me a little of your background.
I'm from Georgia, man. I grew up riding dirt roads, fishing, underage drinking, you know, the usual South, you know, the Georgia experience,
Georgia.
you know, yeah.
You from Augusta?
Just outside Augusta, yeah. There's a little town called Stapleton.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Augusta, but yeah, I grew up out in Stapleton.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, how did you end up in the military?
I don't know. I knew it at like a young age. Like I wanted to just do shady shit for Uncle Sam, you know?
Like how young?
I think I was like 14. I told my grandma, I was like, when I grew up, like I want to be like CIA or something and like just fucking schwacked people. And she was like, that's not healthy. I was like, whatever, man, you know? And now my grandpa, he actually passed away this morning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. The one in Vietnam. He was a big influence, man. He went through Sand Hill too. I think he got drafted for Vietnam. And, yeah, dude, he taught me all kind of cool stuff. Like he took Kung Fu. He taught me how to throw knives. Like, dude, it's just, you know, and we were just, you know, drinking Natty Light and just teaching me all kind of stuff to survive, you know. And
did he talk about Vietnam much or no?
He had some stories every now and then, but, you know, it's kind of, his life wasn't the military. You know, he had like a wild childhood growing up and, you know, a lot of stuff that he had to learn from his childhood to, you know, for his family and everybody to survive. Like, you know, he wasn't one of those guys that was like, oh, you know what was hard? The war, you know, like.
He didn't wear it on his sleeve.
No, yeah. He would tell like some stories about it. You know, it was mostly like him and the boys, you know, like the good times. And whenever he would do something like, there was this one story, like he was talking, they were all like talking shit or something. And he like threw his knife and like stuck a leaf to the tree and they were all, you know, like freaking out. Like he was just, you know, he
was a Georgia ninja.
Well, I can't remember where he was from, but he lived in Alabama. So, you know, he was just one of those backwood boys that you just don't mess with, you know? Like,
yeah.
But no, he's super great, dude. But yeah, it's pretty much him. He'd kind of talked about it off and on growing up, and yeah.
So you graduate high school. Did you go to the recruiter's office right after that? Or?
No. So it's actually a funny story. So my senior year of high school, I was in the gym playing basketball or whatever, and I saw a Navy recruiter leaving. And I ran him down and I went and talked to him and went and swam and tryouts, and I had a SEAL contract, 18 years old. And
after you talked to him?
Yeah.
Wow.
I went and talked to him, said, this is what I want to do. And he was like, oh, you know, we can send you to Charleston and get your associates in nuclear and you can work on subs. And I was like, no, hell no. I was like, I'm going to be a gangster, dude. And, so I went and swam and, I did my, you know, PT test and stuff. And they were like, yeah, cool. Here you go. ATFSL, you know, nice little cush bonus. And, it was, 8 months later or something like that. 8 months, a year later. It's like 2 weeks before I was supposed to ship out to Indiana or whatever to go to basic. And they weren't going to have a slot at Buds. And so they pushed my basic training date out like another year.
Wow.
And dude, I was couch surfing. Like I got kicked out of my dad's house. I was couch surfing. I was partying, you know, I was working at Domino's, making pizzas, you know, spending every dime on, you know, beer and stuff. And, so I went over and lived with my uncle, his son that was in the military. I went and stayed with him for a little bit and I signed up. I went to the army and I was like, I'm going to join. He was like, oh, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I just want to be an infantryman. So like my ASVAB scores and stuff, like, dude, I'm smart. I don't look like it, but I'm smart. And, I had a quick little phone call at MEPS with the sergeant major of East Coast recruiting. He was like, we can do airborne and ranger and all this other stuff. And I was like, I just want to be infantry. And he was like, we have all these programs. You can do whatever you want. And I was like, I just want to do infantry. I was like, I can go to airborne from there. I can go to ranger from there. Like, all those guys start there. You know what ranger battalion is?
Mm-mm.
A very better budgeted infantry. That's it. There's still 11 Bravos. Now, they do a lot cooler shit than we did. That's for sure. They're way better trained. You know, they got a much bigger budget. But I was like, if I like this stuff, I can go and do all of that from here. So let's just do that. And he like signed a waiver so I can just be an infantryman. Like, worm IQ, you know, like an earthworm IQ. And, you know, the Navy was like, you're going to get associates in nuclear physics. And I was like, no, I'm not. I don't want it. That's not what I want to do. I wanted to be a hammer my whole life, you know, like, yeah, I mean, I just I knew from a young age what I wanted to do. And dude, I had a great time.
Okay. So you signed up. The Army said, yeah. Where did you end up?
Oh, yeah. It took me about, yeah. So they were like, yeah, we can go in like 6 months. Sorry, I got sidetracked there.
Oh, you're good.
So it was like 6 months later and ended up going and staying with my pa. I went and lived with him for about 2 months right before I shipped out to basic. And that's what we were throwing knives and, you know, shooting and camping and, you know, just living my best life. Then I went, it's February 28th of 2012. I went to Fort Benning. Then 16 weeks later.
Tell me about Fort Benning. What was that like?
I'm convinced the drill sergeants control the weather out there. It was in like spring, you know, like going into summer in South Georgia. 98 degrees during the day. When you wake up at 5:30 for PT, it's literally freezing outside. And they just have you in shorts and a t-shirt, and it's 32 degrees outside. And then 45 minutes later, it's 100 with humidity. And then it's cold again. Like, dude, it's crazy. They control the weather. I'm convinced they do. Fort Benning, I don't want to like, I'm not bad mouthing it. Sand Hill, you know, that's where men are made, but they got something going on they don't talk about, dude.
What do you mean?
Dude, that's like some area, like the weather machine. Like I don't know if it's like cloud seeding or what, but something fishy's going on down there with the weather, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
How was your drill sergeants? Was that what you thought it was gonna be?
Dude, I was kind of hated in basic training. Mm-mm. Everybody took it like so serious. And I was like, dude, it's like, we're not stuck here with them. The drill sergeant, I think it's like a 2-year like station to be a drill sergeant. I was like, dude, they're stuck here with us. And there's new us's every 16 weeks. And like, you could tell, like at some point, like they would just have fun. You know what I mean? We had a drill sergeant, and I don't know if he watches this. If he does, shout out Drill Sergeant Morris. It was Morris. And dude, he was, oh man, he's just a great guy. He was hilarious. We asked him one day, we're like, do you know who Chuck Norris is? And he was like, that's my fucking dad. You know, we would do like the rope thing, and he would throw himself over it instead of hang underneath it with his, you know, and fucking like speed down the rope. You know, he's like, yeah, goddamn right. They call me White Lightning, you know, like he was just a cool dude. It was like towards the end, we were getting ready for graduation, and I got like a gnarly sinus infection. So I was on like Mucinex and like, all these antibiotics and stuff, because they moved us so that they could clean the barracks because of like black mold or whatever. Everywhere you go in the military, there's black mold, dude. If you just shove a bunch of sweaty dudes in a little room, you're going to get mold somewhere, you know? And so, it's like at night, and they leave one drill sergeant there overnight, especially towards the end. It's graduation, dude. We're done. They're done. Yeah. They get to take a week or two off, you know, whatever they do. So he's downstairs in the little, you know, drill sergeant room, sitting on the couch watching a movie. It's a little Private Hinds. I just go in there and I sit down next to him, and we're watching the movie. Like, we didn't have TV and all that stuff. We didn't have our cell phones, nothing. Sitting down there, just hanging out, watching a movie. You know, we're laughing. I can't remember what movie it was. And then like 5-10 minutes into it, he turned to look at me. What the fuck are you doing? And I was like, I got to take my medicine, drill sergeant. He's like, get out of here. I was like, all right. So I like walk back out and I knock on the door. He's like, what? I was like, I need my medicine, drill sergeant. So he brings me in the room. He's front leaning rest. I'm doing push-ups while he's digging through. And he pulls, like, he's down. He grabs the medicine. Up. Is this yours? No, drill sergeant. Tosses it. Is this yours? No. So he gets to mine. He's like, what do you need? I was like, I need 2 of those and 1 of all the other ones. So he takes the medicine out. He puts it in his hand. He puts it underneath my face and he's like, down. And so as I go down doing a push-up, he puts the shit in my mouth and he's like, up. And then he grabs my camel bag and holds it again down and sticks it in my mouth. But like he put my medicine in his hand. He was like, down. And like fed me like a dog. That guy, I'll never forget that guy, dude. Like, I left and I was like, that's the NCO that I want to be. You know, firm but fair. And, you know, and keep some humanity in it. But yeah, dude, if he's watching this, I don't remember his, you know, Chuck fucking Morris, man. You know, he was the guy. But no, yeah, man.
So those guys hated you because you didn't take his... You did the work, but you knew it was kind of an act.
Yeah, the other guys in my class, like, dude, like, I would fart in formation, you know, like, or standing there, you know, standing tall, like, quiet, you know, just let it go. And I asked him one time, we're doing the prone row, like, where you lay down to stretch. And I was like the platoon leader at the time, so I was out in front of everybody. And Morris was next to me, and we're laying like this on the ground, you know. And I'm like, I look over at him, I'm like, drill sergeant. I was like, is this how you fly? He gets up and goes to another platoon. And so, yeah, the guys would get mad at me, but they were like, oh, you're not taking this serious, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, all we're learning is how to march and wake up early and, like, you know, get the unit. We're learning, like, this is the tree stump. Like, nothing, like, this is all of the basics. It's basic training. Like, I'm not going to be miserable for 16 weeks, you know? And there was so many people I graduated with that I kept up with that were in my class. A dude got kicked out, like, within the first 6 months. DUI or just some other, you know, stupid shit. And I'm just like, what are you doing, man? You know? And
so you kind of enjoyed it.
Dude, I loved it.
You liked the process.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, it was great. I mean, it sucked, but it was great.
Yeah.
It was a good time. It was, we had another little drill sergeant. I can't remember his name, but he was this little short black guy. He was awesome too, man. He was so funny. I can't even like remember exactly, but just the way he was like, hey, come here, Prot. I was like, yes, drill sergeant. He's like, hey, where the fuck you do that, guy? Like, he was just, you know, talking to us like one of the boys, and we're like, or like one of his kids, you know, like, hey, where you do that at? You do that at your house? Yeah, Roger, drill sergeant. Well, we don't do that shit in my house. Get back over there. I'm like, all right, cool, you know. We had there's another big guy. He looked like The Rock, just huge, you know, like slicked head and everything. And some kid called home and complained about how we were being treated. And dude, it was like from a movie. It was piss and rain. We get everybody standing outside, and it's just him. So it's like at nighttime, right? So it's just the one drill sergeant, and it's just this guy, like 300 pounds, you know, like 6'1", just a unit. We get like phone calls and everything, you know. So the evening, and he yells from like in the middle, and you can hear him through 2 floors on both sides. Get the fuck. We get down there. And dude, it's piss and rain. We're all standing there and he's walking around, and just his voice, like he just had that command presence. Like, dude, when he starts talking, you barely breathe. You know what I mean? And dude, he just goes off. He's like, the next motherfucking mom that calls up here and says like, oh, how we're treating you or whatever. He's like, I'm going to slap her, your daddy, everybody, your weak ass bloodline. And like, but he was going off, and we're just getting pissed rained on it. It was like from a movie. It was crazy. Like you couldn't see like 50 yards. It was raining so hard. And this guy was just giving us the beans, dude. You guys are a bunch of fucking pussies and blah, 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 and, you know, just going off. And he's like, he's like, dude, I'll slap your mama and your daddy for raising a weak ass bitch. Like, you know, like just going off.
Did he tell you whose kid who was the?
No, we didn't figure out who it was, but there was, you know, you could kind of tell, you know, there was worms there, you know, they quit. And then the guy came around, you know, you order like your class ring and shit. And, you know, they ordered like all this shit for their mom and everything. And we're like, dude, like you quit. You're still here because you're here until we're done. But you quit. Like, you're not going to be in the Army when basic training is done. Like, why are you buying shit for your mom from basic training, dude? Like, what are you doing right now? You're going to get her a memoir of you being a bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, I know I couldn't make it, but I got you this sweet t-shirt, you know? It was crazy, dude. It was basic.
So while you were in basic, did you know you were going to Afghanistan at that point? No.
We hoped. I mean, we all hoped. We all wanted to be infantrymen. There's not shit for you to do over here. I mean, you can go and train, you know, you LARP around the woods, you know, blanks and, you know, building, you know, forts and stuff. But no, I didn't. And I found out I was going to Fort Drum and I was kind of, but it's a rapid deployment unit. So, you know, they're right on the East Coast, a giant, you know, airstrip right outside of base. They landed a giant, like Delta, like 4-story airplane to fly us all out of there. Like, it was cool. But it was like every 18 months up there, like somebody was going.
So when did you find out? So how long were you up there before did you ship out from there to Afghanistan then?
Yeah.
How long were you there?
I was up there. It was like 15 months, I think, when I got there. We just started training immediately.
And did you like it up there?
Oh yeah, man. I got med boarded, but dude, if they would have took me back, I would walk back to Fort Drum. That place is great. Watertown, not so much. Shout out, you guys suck, but Watertown is just a little military town. But dude, Fort Drum.
What were you doing training wise there? What would a day consist of?
Well, it kind of really just depend. You know, if we were going to the range, then, you know, we were out there with all our shit like 4:30 in the morning, standing around waiting for the arms room to open at 7, you know, just a whole bunch of nothing for 2.5 hours. And then, we had so much ammo. We'd go to the range and we'd have to make shit up so that we could shoot all the ammo that they sent us. Like, it was nuts, but I mean,
what did they have out there for you to shoot? You were shooting.
Oh, they had paper targets of terrorists with AKs, you know. And, you know, we'd go do our qual with the little green, you know, the little fast eddies. But, dude, all of the training we did anytime we put together like a company attack, and we had to clear some rooms, and we put like paper targets of people with a balloon behind it. So if you hit the people where you're supposed to, it popped the balloon and it would fall. It was like saying it out loud. Like, you gotta just, like, I can understand why people are like, you need therapy, but it's like, dude, it's like we were training to go kill people. So like, we weren't shooting, you know, like cardboard targets, you know? So
that was fun.
It was so much fun, man. It sucked, but like that whole embrace the suck thing. Say you go out there for like a week, the first day or two is just a bitching, you know. And I tell people that. I tell my girlfriend all the time, I'm like, Mama didn't raise a quitter. She raised a complainer. I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna bitch about it the whole time. You know what I mean? And so, you know, once you get out there, it's raining, it's cold, you're 32 miles south of Canada. And so there's like 4 feet of snow on the ground, and you got to dig through it, you know, to sleep. You're like, but once you hit like just that delirious level, cause it's too cold to sleep and you're just like wore out, but you can still perform, you know, and you're just like, you know, everything becomes funny. And I think it's that way on purpose, like a psychological, you know, cause I talked to a guy one time. He's like, oh yeah, the first time I got in a firefight, I shit my pants, whatever. It's like, I got a buddy AJ that'll tell you the first time I got shot at, I got fucking mad. Like, it's like, I just sat down and, you know, just started fucking gatting, dude. And I really did. It was kind of a bad situation. It was just a long day of walking, and I was the last guy, so I walked the furthest, you know. And so I don't know. It's like it's weird.
It was what you thought it was, though, right? Wasn't it? Or was it better than what you thought it was?
Well, I mean,
up to that point,
I got paid to do it too, which is the cool part, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't really what I expected, because, you know, it was everybody. Oh, basic training is just the basics. Like, dude, it was like, war fighting is such a complex simplicity. Like, there's so many different, you know, levels and depth to, you know, making the plan and, you know, being, tactical and aggressive and violent and everything else. But then like, it's very simple. It's like, okay, cool. You rehearse it. You know what you have to do. And it makes it simple. It's like, all right, cool. We do this and this and this and this and this and this, and then it's done. There's all these multiple levels, but dude, is you drill part one. Whenever you can do part one without thinking, then you do part one and add part two to it. And it's like so complex, but then when it's done, you're like trying to explain it to somebody. You're like, that's a lot of moving pieces. Like, no, it's not. It's easy. But then like, you think you break it down to somebody that didn't, drill something hundreds of times. Like, dude, we did room clearing and we built glass houses. We just put tape on the floor and you had to imagine walls. And we drilled that over and over and over. I mean, hundreds of times before we even got into a real room without even using ammo, just going into a real room with, our finger guns, like, all right, go on over here. And it translated over, I was a E4 and, when I got to Colorado after I got back from Afghanistan, and dude, my first sergeant, he came in my room while I was teaching my guys because my squad leader wasn't there. And dude, he made the whole company come through my room to me sign off on them room clearing. People that have been in the Army longer than I had to get my go.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow. But
it is what you make it. But Fort Drum is like either you make it or they sent you home. There was no, you don't want to be here? Cool. We found out we were deploying before we even got orders. It was pretty much like basic training and tryouts all over again. It was just nonstop days of just getting the shit smoked out of us, just doing crazy stuff by the guys that had just got back from deployment. Because we were rapid deployment, they're back for 18 months and then, we're going again. And we had limited numbers, and so we literally had to do tryouts. Like we wanted to take everybody. Too bad you can't. So you have to figure out, like, we're going in here half-manned. Who are you okay with that's getting shot, but who do you think's going to absolutely destroy somebody that hurts you or will drag you out? It's like a love-hate thing. It's like, dude, I love you. I would never want to put you in that situation, but I'd hate to be over there without you. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And it was tough, man.
Were they talking about what they'd just been through, or were they?
They would every now and then, they would kind of like tell you what to expect. And, you heard some stories, my guy, my team leader, like he like damn near cut a guy in half with a saw on a grape row. Like he was one of I got it from him, dude. When we started getting like going kinetic, he would just get mad. He was like, fuck it, And so,
were you guys getting worked up? You were ready to go.
What do you mean?
Excited to go over to Afghanistan.
Oh, yeah,
to put it to real use.
Hell yeah, dude. Whenever they told us we were deploying before, and they were like, we're going to figure out who wants it. Everybody was like, it was tough.
So people were competing to go over there.
Dude, yeah, you were pretty much, it was tryouts, and it was for the team.
Right. What did that look like? I mean, everyone openly knew they were trying out.
Oh, yeah. No. It was literally just got the shit smoked out of us all day, for hours at a time to see who would quit.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Because if you couldn't do squats or sit up against the wall or push-ups or lunges or, runs and all that stuff, if you gave up, like, dude, that shit was noted. Well, I mean, it wasn't necessarily you were out, but it didn't help you.
Right.
We had like the cinder block barracks, and we would close the fire doors and we would make the fucking walls sweat. I was sitting right by the door. And my team leader, Gomez, he comes over and he has a chair, and we were sitting in an electric chair where you squat up against the wall, He comes and puts a chair next to me, and he's like, if anybody wants to quit, whatever, and needs to take a break, like, here's a chair right here, whatever. And dude, I was like, there was like two other guys that had been there longer than me out of the new guys. And, they were pretty solid, but I ran circles around them, I had no quit in me, He put it next to me, and while he set it down and started walking and talking, I got up off the wall. I folded the chair. I pulled the door open. And I flung it just as far as I could. He was like, he was like, what the fuck are you doing? I said, we have chairs. We're sitting in them. It's like, we aren't getting no time off. It's like, we're already sitting in a chair. We don't need another chair in here. I was just like, fuck it. We're not doing this. And our mortar, like our mortar like section sergeant or whatever for our mortar team. He's an E6. This guy woke up in a body bag like 3 different times. He was nuts. He was goofy. Like, he'd be having a blast right here. I see him all the time now on Facebook. Like, he's like catching some huge fish. He's got like this great beard. And he got like double knee surgery or something. So he's in the barracks in one of his guys' rooms, they're going over stuff, doing whatever mortarmen do. And we're in the hallway just getting the shit smoked out of us. And luckily for me, I was right in front of the door that he walked out of, And he was a cool dude. We had talked occasionally, and he would sing my praises. I just no quit in me. And he walks out of the room, and he's like, "God damn, Hinds!" He's like, "You better tell them they better pull their pipes out if they want to smoke a rock." And I was like, "Shut up! Like, what? No, dude." And my team leader, everybody turned around. Who the fuck said that? It's like, "Oh, you Hinds, you think you're special?" I was like, "Negative." Like, no. Like, I was just doing my flutter kicks, man. I'm participating. And he comes out, and he's like, "You better tell them to get their pipe out if they want to smoke a rock." And I was like, dude, it's like, oh, man.
Okay, so what happened after that? You sent out to Afghanistan?
Yeah, so we got like the numbers, and then they submitted who they wanted. And
how many guys went?
We had it was like 24, 25, maybe 26. They're legit tryouts. Like, when they were like,
were they posted? Was it? Were they
You
call
had
your
to-
name at the end? How did you know who made it?
You had to get on, it was like your iPerms or whatever, and see if you had orders. It was like a bunch of dudes sitting around waiting to see who made the cut for like a football game or like for school. And dude, like, if they got on and they checked and they didn't have orders, there were some tears, man. Like, that was kind of it was like, hey, these people you've been with for, 14, 15 months training and doing, and like, they don't want to take you. Like, it crushed some people, man. We had some good kids that probably should have went that didn't.
That didn't go.
Yeah. It crushed a lot.
Okay, after you got picked, how long after?
We got our orders. I want to say it was probably like within like 2 months or so. I think it was like late November of 2013 when we left, which it snows in Afghanistan, by the way, in the desert.
The flight over. Where did you fly in?
We made a pit stop in Ireland, which was pretty cool. But all those people, they don't like us over there. We got off the plane like to refuel. We hopped off to like go to the bathroom and shit. And dude, just beautiful red hair, typical Irish, and just, "Hey, how are you?" And just like, get out of here,
Are you on a military plane or are you flying commercial?
No, this was like a big Delta plane.
Really?
I think something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
It was huge. Like,
excitement on you guys going over there? Anticipation?
Oh yeah. It was a long ass flight, but dude, yeah, a couple people slept, other people were just, vibrating, like.
And where did you land
cool.
over there?
We landed in Romania. It was a commercial landed in Romania, and we hung out there for about 3 or 4 days. They were excited to see us because, whatever, people could have little shops on post. We'd been on a plane flying uncomfortable, so we went and got massages, we went and got snacks, we went and blew a whole paycheck on bullshit. It was crazy. Like, you land at the airport there, and then we're driving over to the post, and you see like tanks with like bushes and stuff growing, like crashed jets. Like, dude, it's
just
post war torn. And then we got on I think it's like a C-130 or something from there, and flew over into Bagram.
And then what was that like when you landed there?
Bagram is ridiculous, dude. Bagram is so big that if the rocket is not coming into like your section of it, the alarms don't even go off. Life continues.
Just a huge base.
It's huge. They had like a Pizza Hut on that thing. They had a chow hall that was like the size of a mall. But legitimately, like, if the danger wasn't in like your county of this thing, the alarms didn't go off. Life continued. It was nuts. Huge.
And you deployed out of there? What happened? No, after you got on the ground, what happened?
We got there. We were there for a couple of days, and then we went over to FOB Shank, a.k.a. Rocket City.
Helicopter or
no? It was another
plane.
Plane. Yeah. And then
what was that like?
Well, it's kind of, you had, aside from the mountains, everybody around us hated us. So just a little, we took rockets. It's called Rocket City. It's damn near every day, at least once a day. We had like a rocket attack on the base. It was crazy.
And did you guys have a bunker to go in? Or not really? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bunker, but yeah. Yeah, they had them everywhere. If the alarm went off, you're supposed to stop what you're doing and go run into it, whatever, but that didn't always happen. It was kind of just like, all right, you heard the explosion. Like, yeah, it's not hitting me. Like, yeah.
Is that where you based out of then?
Yeah.
Rocket City?
Yeah. We were there for, it was like the total deployment was about 9 months, but we spent a good like 8 months of it there after travel and everything. Yeah.
And what was your first going out past the wire? What was that?
Well, we got there and we did like our rip. So we went out. The guys we were relieving took us, a handful of us, like the leadership, out and showed us. And dude, I'm going to be honest with you, like it's kind of fucking spooky, dude. Like we went out, like we drove out and like parked and dismounted and just kind of show the AO. And dude, I got out and there's like random people walking and stuff. And I was like, fuck, like I'm about to get shot, dude. This is crazy.
Was it a village? Or what was it?
It was just kind of like an open area, like outside of a village. But then you realize like these people are just trying to live their lives. Like I'm not going to get shot at, you know what I mean? But it's like the first time you get out of the truck and you're in a war zone, and it's just you and a handful of other dudes sitting out in the desert and you're just like, oh man, like this is it, dude.
The guys you were relieving, did they look ready to go? Were they haggard or no?
They were ready to go home. It was like, we always say it's like a baby, it's like, oh yeah, you're still a baby, whatever. It's like, you can be a grown man. You can join the army at 32 years old. You haven't deployed or anything. Like you have 19-year-old kids that look just
like babies.
Weathered.
Yeah.
Well,
weathered. Oh, I see.
You have
a
19, 20-year-old dude that's deployed.
Been through it.
Yeah, and it's a 32-year-old guy fresh out of basic, and you're like, you're a baby. It's crazy. And then there's a lot of guys that like they kept their innocent. We had this one kid, we called him Bear. He's just a short, just stocky dude. Super sweet guy, super silly. We got there, we did our thing, we got back. Dude, Bear stayed the same. Bear's just a cool dude, man. He's just funny.
He didn't age at all?
Yeah, well, no, man. Like we would sit, like one day, like we had him like bet, like he put an entire can of dip like in his mouth to see how long he could take it, and like he's just the same goofy, like lovable dude, man. And it changes you. It changes everybody. We got back home, like, at least from what, like, I heard about, we got back and, like, he was still just a fucking big teddy bear. Great guy. And I mean, I feel like most people were, it was, or at least when you're with the boys again, when you're all hanging out, we're not all like, oh, fuck, what did we do? We're like, hey, like, who's buying beer this time? Like, let's go out to eat. Let's go watch a movie. Like, Transformers is some, whatever's coming out. Let's go get beer, whatever. And, it's, when you're back with those dudes that you just went through it with, it's like, it doesn't matter what happens here. Like, fuck, if we made it through that, it only take a handful of us to make it through something here, those guys. So.
What was the first time things got real over there when you were like, oh, this is what this really is?
It was like the first or second day, I think, that we like officially took over, from the guys that were leaving. And there was like some intel of like a 40,000 pound V-bed, which is vehicle bound improvised explosive device. Big ass bomb in the back of a car. And we were like FOB QRF at the time. And so they were like, we got reports of this, whatever. And, there's sketchy, whatever parked outside the gate. And like, we got to go look at it. And I was like, this place isn't that big. 40,000 pounds of any type of explosive. I was like, brother, it's either going to not be a problem. And like, that's the best case scenario, is it's going to suddenly not be our problem anymore. At least you won't feel it, And, so we're going over to the gate and we pull out the gate and there's like traffic coming. They don't give a shit, dude. And so like, we pull up and I'm just like, all right. He's like, well, drop the gate. Like, we'll dismount the 50 cal and put it in the middle of the road and I'll start aiming it at cars. Like, they'll figure it out. they need to stop. There was this tractor with this giant covered trailer parked right outside our gate. And we were like posted up like 50 yards from it to stop traffic so they could look at it. And I was like, you wouldn't even know it happened if it happened this close. Like, you would just suddenly be, answering for everything you did in your life ever, like, and so like that intel came out and like we had to go. It was like day like 3 or 4. We were at Bagram, but I say like days there. I'm talking specifically at
that base.
Shank. Yeah. So that's like day 2 in Afghanistan, and we're like, fuck. Like,
was there nothing in it?
They found something. But it was like tiny, dude. They did a controlled explosion in like a 55-gallon barrel of water. And it was like, and we're like, you barely heard it in the truck. You're like, the fuck was that? And you're like, oh, they found it. And like, they found a piece of it. Like, that wasn't 40,000 pounds. Like, I'm not EOD, but I'm not fucking dumb either, Like, there's, just some little small explosive, and they just, ripped it in a bucket. And then we got back and we're like, all right, well, this is it. Like, there's something out there that wants to kill us all the time. I'm like, cool. All right.
And what was your assignment? What was the day to day? What were they going to have you do? Did that change all the time?
No. We kind of like set up we had a set rotation. We built up a little strong point into like an OP. We did FOB QRF, and then we did patrolling. So you did like 3 or 4 days of patrolling, and then you do 3 or 4 days out on the OP. And
when you were patrolling, what were you out in?
We were out walking around.
Just walking? Yeah. Just around the base?
No.
Or where?
Out around Afghanistan, dude.
just 20 guys going?
We drive out to our little OP. We would dismount from there, and then we would just go walk through the village and all this other stuff. Walk through the desert, just go literally just wait, hoping somebody picked a fight with us.
And what was the rules of engagement they had given you at this point?
It's like, you had to positively identify a weapon and have to be under immediate like threat. Because like, and I say immediate threat because the locals, they were allowed to have like AKs. So if you see a guy walking with a gun, like he's just like you see a guy in the street, with a gun tucked in his pants, like it's no big deal. Now, if you see a guy with like a PKM or something, like a big machine gun, they're not supposed to have those.
Right.
But if he's not shooting it at you or pointing it at you, you kind of just got to wait for him to fucking kill somebody. And then you can start unleashing hate.
And the villagers that you see when you were wandering around, would they talk to you? Would they look at you? Did they ignore you?
They would talk. They would talk. I mean, I have no idea what they were saying, but they didn't want us there.
Yeah.
Which is fine, We wanted to be there, at that point, we've been training. We're like, yeah, hell yeah, we're going to kill some terrorists, and they're like, we don't want you here. We're like, yeah, well, you want to fight these guys? And they're like, oh, fuck Taliban. We're like, all right, come back in your house. Shut up. You know what I mean? Like, I got a headache. You want some ibuprofen? Oh, I can't take pills. All right, well then just shut up. You know what I mean? Like, and some people did. Like, we had one guy, he came flying over to our OP on like a bicycle. He's a farmer, and he was like, he's like, they're in my farm. Like, they're using my shit for cover. Like, I need help. We're like, all right, like, we appreciate it. Like, where's it at? Whatever. We sent him back with like a box of MREs and, some food and shit. And like a week later, he comes hauling out. We go and patrol through there, 2-3 days later. We're back out at the OP a week or so later, and he comes hauling back up on the bicycle, and they cut his fucking hand off for talking to us. He showed up, nubbed up, bleeding his shit out. And he said, they're still here, and they cut my hand off for talking to you. We're like, brother, we walked right through your entire farm. We didn't see anybody. But he told, like, they posted up at his farm or whatever, and were shooting rockets at the base. And he was like, they're over here. He's like, he came to tell the Americans, like, they're here. We're like, all right, bet. Didn't see anything.
Never found him?
Never saw anything, and then they fucking cut his hand off. Crazy, dude.
It's brutal.
It's their own people, bro. It's their own people.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was pretty early on for you?
It wasn't early, but it wasn't late in the game.
Yeah.
Like, it was right around fighting season.
Fighting season.
Yeah. It's literally like a season over there.
In the summer? Spring?
It's like spring, summertime, yeah.
Tell me about that.
We were, I think it's Ricky Schroder. Have you heard of him?
Yeah.
the fighting season that he has it was on Netflix.
Oh, no. It was a show called that.
Well, yeah,
oh, no.
It's a legit over there. It's called Fighting Season. But
okay.
Ricky Schroder did like a 6-episode like mini documentary series about fighting season. And we're in it.
Okay. All right. Tell me about the fighting season. So you guys called it that?
No, well, I mean, that's just what it's called over there. Yeah. Like it's known as you talk to anybody that's been deployed to Afghanistan, you tell you fighting season, you're like, yeah.
They'll know.
Brother. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like it's like spring, summer, like it starts warming up and the snow's gone and you get the long days. And they'll wait. They'll wait till the sun's coming up in your eyes and shoot at you, or they'll wait till the sun's going down in your eyes and shoot at you from that direction. Like they're not dumb. But yeah, it's literally when fighting season starts, like the rockets start. We watched two guys on a motorcycle pull up. One guy got off and held a blanket up. The other guy kneeled behind him and shot a rocket over the wall at us. And we were in the tower. We couldn't do anything because all we did was see him kneel down behind the blanket. We could not positively identify him. So we had to watch a rocket go over the wall.
What?
Dude, that
makes no sense.
Dude, they're brave, dude. This was like on the main road, like maybe 50 yards from the wall of the giant base of Shank that we were on. Pulled up, stopped, held up a blanket, my whole body just...
And then drove off.
Yep, and then got on and drove off. We followed them with the camera to see where they went, and then we lost them in the village, go figure.
First firefight you were in.
Oh, man, that's what I was telling you earlier about the AJ. I got mad. They were flying like a little UAV around.
Who's they? The Taliban or
no?
You guys.
We were. Okay. Yeah. And it was like right outside our OP. It landed somewhere, and all they had was like the last image or whatever captured. And so we're like, all right, cool. We'll go out and walk. So we like walk out of our little OP, and we're doing like this big wagon wheel like around all the little fingers, And I'm the last fucking guy out there. I was saying I'll walk the furthest, like. And so we're walking, and there's like a hill over there that has the black flag raised, and we're like, yo, like that's, they told us like that's what you're gonna take contact from there a lot. Like that is the Taliban flag. Plenty of places to hide, whatever, And we're like, all right, cool. So I was like keeping an eye on that because I was out there. I was 30, 40 feet from the next guy by myself. Here's that hill, like, all right. Tripping over shit because I'm watching to make sure I don't get shot in the back. And we finally call it quits after like 3 or 4 hours of just monster mashing around.
Nothing.
There.
Never saw anything.
Didn't find it, no. And we're walking back up. There's one little, like our OP, and then they had like a little finger, and it was kind of like the highest point. And so and then we walked up that and went and posted up in like a little half moon, patrol shape with the OP behind us, to figure out if they wanted us to keep looking or quit, because we're like, yo, we haven't found anything. So I'm the last guy walking up through, and as my CO was out there, and he was counting us all back in, he went with us, and he was like, all right. I was like, what? He's like, you the last man, Hinds? I was like, yeah. Like, dude, I'm the last. He's like, cool. He's like, man, he's like, go sit down, drink some water or whatever. So I went over and I sat down next to my buddy AJ. He was my machine gunner. As soon as I sat down, rounds started snapping over our head. The AJ, he was worried about me. Just as soon as I heard the round snap, just like, motherfucker, like I just sat down. Dude, I freaked out. And AJ was like shooting. He's like, you good, bro? I'm like, are you good? Did you get hit? And he's like, no. I'm like, fucking shoot that guy. And I was like, dude, I lost my shit there for a minute. I was fucking mad. There's a guy who's like...
Could you see where they were coming from?
Oh, yeah, I shot the guy.
How far away was he?
He's probably like 100 yards or so.
Shooting an AK?
Yeah.
And, okay, tell me, when you heard the rounds going over your head, it was like you'd feel them going by you?
No,
you just heard it.
You hear the snap. They weren't, it wasn't that... He didn't miss by much, The dude, fucking just angry.
Did you feel like your training kicked in right then, or just the anger and the instinct kicked in?
Well, I mean, the right answer is the training, because you're taught, you're trained to react, not freak out. And so, you know, I just fucking, I was like, all right, cool. It's like, we're here to deliver hate and freedom. And I'm like, motherfucker, I just sat down. I'm about to, you know, free you from this life of crime you live, and I'm going to deliver some hate, you know, where you're at. And we get it finally there. We break contact and we're pulling back to the base, to our little OP. And we see one dude, I think he was like getting loaded up in a wheelbarrow or whatever. Like he was toasted, you know. There's another guy we saw just hauling ass, running. And I had, you know, somebody had, you know, kind of got smoked or, you know, he rolled their ankle or something. And, you know, so I grabbed his machine gun and I went hauling ass up to, you know, cover everybody coming in. And I saw him running and I like had my hand up in the machine gun and I like let him out. And I was sitting there with my butt Gomez and he goes, "You gonna shoot that guy?" And I was like, "I fucking want to." And our commander was like, right there as he's walking up, he goes, "He's running away. Don't you dare." And I was like, well, he's running away right now to fight us again tomorrow. Like, we know it was him. He wouldn't be running away if it wasn't, you know? And so we get back in, you know, and this little OP, it was just our platoon, you know, our 20 plus dudes. And so everybody that was on guard for, you know, 6-7 hours before we went out there for 4 or 5 hours, they were still in the tower. So I get back in the tent and I'm like sitting on my cot and I have my helmet off and I'm just like, fuck, it's hot. I'm thirsty. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I was like, I just blew that dude away. I was like, fuck, man. A dude pops in the tent. He's like, Special Science. It's like, we know you guys just got back and there's no rush, but, you know, we were supposed to rotate guard or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, fuck, man, my bad. Threw my shit right back on and went and stood in the tower for 8 hours. I slept like a rock when I was done. I don't know if it's like a people thing or like an individual person or, you know, I'm sure a lot of it had to do with the training because, you know, none of us really stuttered, you know, while we were there. You know, it just kind of, we did what we had to do. But I think it just comes down to the person, man. Like, if that's all you're told is, oh, you're going to shit your pants, whatever, you're going to be scared, then you're going to be scared.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever anybody telling me in those 15, 16 months that led up to going to Afghanistan to be afraid of anything. And so when it happened, I wasn't afraid.
So when the captain said, don't do it.
Yeah.
Is that...
Oh, if he hadn't have been there, I would have done it. Fuck that guy.
And probably nothing would have happened to you, would it? Or would it?
Well,
I mean, what's the ramifications of that at that point?
Well, you know, you're supposed to like fill out like sworn statements, you know, something happens anytime, you know, you get in a gunfight. You know, I think had one of us gotten hit, it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
But those dudes, they weren't ready to play ball with us that day. So
but you know,
they didn't,
that guy leans his rifle down just a little lower. You might have been gone.
I know, dude.
So such a weird
dude.
The engagement thing is so strange.
Well, that's like, what I don't get is like here, if a cop sees you commit something, you can run away, but the cop still can go get you. Why? What? Dude, he actively tried to kill me. And now he's running away because we shot his boy? Because he thought there was 5 or 6 of us up there and there was like 15 with a shit ton of fire. That's all we took out there was machine guns and a handful of rifles. We were ready for that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's like, bro, it's not my...
But you weren't even allowed to chase after him.
Oh, no, God, no. We didn't chase anybody.
That's weird, because why wouldn't you want to... If he was trying to kill you with his buddy...
Dude.
That's weird.
I don't know.
That must have been confusing out there. And frustrating or something.
It wasn't necessarily confusing. I mean, you know, not to a point that it bothered you, but it was very frustrating. It's like, dude...
Yeah. And what were you packing? What weapons were you carrying around?
I had an M4.
What'd you think of that?
I mean, it's just a rifle.
Yeah.
I had a grenade launcher too. My favorite's the machine gun though. The Mark 48, I think it is.
Tell me about that.
It's about the size of the SAW, the 249, but it shoots 7.62 and it's very loud and it shoots very fast. And it's probably my favorite.
Heavy? How much weight?
No, it's like 15, 16 pounds. It wasn't that bad, but it shot 7.62, not those little, you know, 5.56 rounds. It shot 308. Very fast. And it's just loud, dude. Like, they shoot an AK or something at you, fucking pop, 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 pop. And you're fucking, that thing fucking, they're like, oh shit. Like, we might have just fucked up, fellas. You know what I mean? And we had one per squad. So we had 2. And then we had a weapons team that was carrying 240s that did the same thing. It just didn't shoot quite as fast. So we were throwing a whole lot of 308 at these guys. But, as you hear like, like, AK or, M4 or something. And then you hear like the 240s, like the guns start ringing. You're like, oh shit. Like, it's kind of like a weird, like a weird feeling, like even just going to the range with them. Cause like,
it must be a rush. That's
dude,
a lot of power in
it's
a little box,
Dude, it gets it going. It gets the juices going, man. It's like, we have it like set up and you can control the machine gun slinging that stuff and you can hit the targets, buddy. And I mean, again, it's people-sized targets, 500-600 meters out, and you're like, and you hit both of them, and you see it like just like,
tracers on there.
Oh yeah, it was like every 5th round, I think, with a tracer. You knew where it was going.
Yeah,
but yeah, dude, it's a rush.
How many firefights did you end up getting in?
We got in that one. I want to say it was just 2, I think.
Really?
One was pretty big though. One was about 45 minutes to an hour.
Tell me about that.
Oh man, that was a fun day, dude. We walked out there at like 1:00 in the morning because they can't see good, right? They have like a vitamin D deficiency or something, so they can't really see in the dark. But we have night vision, so we can. And, we're red-blooded Americans, so you can kind of see in the dark anyway. But at that point, dude, like we were highly trained. It didn't matter if it was nighttime, daytime. We'll go fight on your turf. Like, we don't give a fuck. So we walk out there and,
you have intel at this point?
No, we were just, I don't know. We were going out to an area and we like did some map recon. We found a spot we wanted and we walked out to it and, the sun came up, and we're all, just hanging out. And then not the mortars, the artillery guys on Shank started just like registering the guns or something. So they were just shooting this mountainside that was, we were looking at. And so we had our FO out there with us, and so he was, they'd tell him what they were aiming at, he would kind of, whatever, and they'd dial the gun in for the day or the week or whatever they were doing. So we're sitting there and, you just hear, and then you see the mountain little, all right, cool. Oh, sweet. And then we hear, and me and my gunner, like, we look at each other, we're like, I was like, dude, like, they missed the fucking mountain, man. And I just like dive on my gunner and we're both like, fuck, I love you, bro. And he's like, I love you too. We're just like, fuck, I'm laying on top of this kid. I'm like, like that mentality, like, yo, he's going home. You know what I mean? I dive on top of him. I'm like, fuck. I love you, bro. I love you too. And then we hear like, it missed us. And we both just like look at each other and turn their helmet cameras on at the same time. We're like, fuck these guys. I saw this dude. He was like my size, like 6'2", but like 130 pounds, shoulder fire, like a 20-pound machine gun. That's the coolest shit ever, dude. Yeah, we got in a fight. We got a couple people got in a bad way that day on their team, not ours.
Yeah.
We fucked those guys up.
But it was a full on.
It was like 45 minutes. 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah. It was crazy.
Were you guys moving or were you kind of stuck in one spot?
We were in like a little L shape and we were just laying it down, brother.
How many guys were over there on the opposite side?
I don't know. I think that fight, I don't know how many were shooting at us, like total or what it was doing, but I think we had like 6 or 7 dudes we got, and they were like barricaded in like buildings and shit, and we were just fighting from the bushes. And yeah, we fucked those guys up. That was pretty cool.
Heart racing in the middle of that, or is it more like calm at that point?
It's kind of like a heart racing, but it's kind of like, it's like a controlled chaos. It's like, it's not like your body like raises your heart rate to like keep up with you. You know what I mean? It's not like a fucking like panic sets in and you start freaking out. It's like, it's almost like an excitement. It's like adrenaline dump.
Of course,
So
with all that firepower, you just feel like
the only thing that we had on station was a B-1 bomber. So after we fucked these dudes up, a B-1 bomber came in. And I told it was a show of force.
did it drop anything?
No.
No, it just came
a
by.
flyby. Yeah, just a show of force. Yeah, rock fucking hard, dude. This is the coolest thing ever, man.
And they fly low, don't I think that's the thing
yeah.
about those. They fly them really low.
Low. I think it's like I think it was grunt style. So our FO, he was talking to him and he walked out and pulled a flag out of his backpack and was waving it.
Mm.
And the camera guy got like a photo or something of it. And I think Grunt Style or one of those guys used it on their page as my FO standing in this field waving his flag at the
Oh, that's cool.
bomber.
Man, do you have access to that
Cool
picture? I'd
shit.
love to see that.
I'd have to find it.
That's cool.
I'm pretty sure I'm friends with him on Facebook. I can see if he's got it and get it to you. But yeah, it was awesome. And it was like, you know, they were saying something. Somebody asked me a question and it's like it made it into the show, the fighting season. I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, I don't fly planes.
When they came out to film you guys for that,
okay, so
or are they taking your camera stuff?
No, some of my helmet footage is in there too, but no. So
do you guys all have helmet cams?
No, only a couple dudes did.
And what's that for? Or was that your own personal thing?
Yeah, it was mine. Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's like a GoPro.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Kinda, yeah. So he came out and they were doing like this docuseries about the fighting season, just going through and interviewing. And his name is River. Fantastic guy. He was in the Navy too. He's a cameraman for us. I don't know. I'm not sure what he did in the Navy. But he went out with us on like one or two, and he was supposed to go somewhere else to just keep filming this. And like we got on like lockdown or something, like somebody got shot or like there was some kind of threat come in, and he ended up getting stuck with us for like 2 weeks. He couldn't fly out of the place. So he calls back or whatever, and he's like, hey, this is what's going on. He's like, I'm just going to roll with these dudes. And they're like, fuck it, send it. And so he ends up like hanging out with us, and like he interviewed like everybody except me. Like I made it a point, like I didn't want to sit and talk, on the interview. And yeah. And so like when we got back, I think it was Mr. Ricky like himself called, and he was like, your quote, like, I don't fly planes. He's like, that's around the office on a daily basis. Like if somebody gets asked a question and they don't know, they're like, I don't know, man. I don't fly planes, And so,
was that something you said over there all the time?
It was in that video, like the B-1 bomber come by.
Okay.
And I was like, they're like, what is that? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't fly planes. Like, fuck, I have no idea, dude. I signed up to fight on the ground. I don't care what those dudes are doing.
Was he filming with you when that happened then?
Yeah, dude, he was
on
there.
that day.
It got bad. I tried to give him my grenade launcher. Like, I thought shit was going to get hairy. Shut up. Boy.
He doesn't trust Micah.
I'm literally never taking you anywhere ever again. But no, dude, like it got hairy. Like he was like having to like crawl through the ditch and stuff, like to get around. And it popped, like he was like over by me and it popped up and like, we're shooting. And I like pulled it out of my shit and I hand him the belt. I'm like, brother, it's like, we fucking need you, dude. And he thought hard about it. Dude, we were all fucking scared, We were excited, but we were scared. And like, dude, it got to us like, here's my government issued equipment, cameraman. Like, fucking.
Did he do it?
No, he didn't.
But he had it though.
No,
he didn't take it.
He didn't take it from me. But dude, it got to like we were getting like they were starting to get pretty fucking close. And there's some of the video in it you can show where he's like laying on the ground and there's this grass that's about knee high, and you can see like the grass whipping the rounds. So like. They were on top of us. Like it got to the point I was like, fuck, I don't want to die. I was like, take this shit and get in the fight, brother. Like we need everything we have going downrange right now.
How did that thing end? Did that end? I mean, how do you know when it's over?
It ended when they stopped shooting back.
And then do you go where they were?
No. So, it was in a village.
Okay.
And so, no, like some A&A guys, Afghan National Army guys rolled up, and I was on the apex with my gunner. So they walked up and the dude was sitting down with me and like, we had stopped fighting or sitting there and I'm smoking a cigarette, sweating and just like, okay. This guy walks up and like, dude, he like kind of snuck up on me. So I'm like sitting there like smoking a cigarette. He's just gone fighting. There's like 5 or 6 dudes like heavily armed walking up. And I'm just like, at that point, I was just like, fuck it, dude. Like, this is it. Like, I'm not going to stop smoking my cigarette. I'm just like, fuck. It's like, those guys are going to kick my ass. I was like, I give up. He comes over and he sits down next to me. One of the Afghan, the A&A guys. And he sees like all the shells on the ground where I was shooting my grenade launcher. And he was just like, he picks it up and says, oh yeah, boom, yeah. And I was like, yeah, dude, like boom, yeah. And he like pulls his gun out and he had one attached to his gun. And he's like, yeah, boom. And I was like, hell yeah, dude. So I ended up giving the guy a cigarette. And then the Terp came over and he was like, they want to know like where it was coming from. I was like, right over there, dude. And they were like, all right, cool. And they were like, America good. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, fuck Taliban. And then just went walking over there. And I was like, all right, dude. It's like, get it, brother. And these guys, these like 5 or 6 dudes, we watched them walk over and there's like a building and then it's like an alleyway almost that goes into this village. And they stack up on the wall, if you want to call it that. They tried. Okay. They were fucking cool. They tried.
They hadn't gone to your building clearing school.
One guy walks around the corner, pops a grenade, chucks it out like a smoke grenade, and then they all just flood into this thing, just fucking unleashing hell, dude. You just hear these AKs ripping off, dudes shooting grenade launchers. Like there's just shit hits the fan for no apparent reason for like 10 minutes. And they're like, Hinds, like, what are they doing? I'm like, they're letting her rip, brother. Like, and it like calms down. And the guy that sat down with me pokes his head around the corner and he's like, good. And I was like, sweet, like, cool. And I'm like, yo, we got to get the fuck out of here. Like, those guys just shot up that whole village. Like, we got to go. Like, we need to leave. And, dude, it was nuts, man.
Was there repercussions from that?
No, dude, they can do whatever they want to. But
from the time you called the plane in, the B-1, how fast was it?
Oh, no, we were, we had like helicopters and stuff, but they were up north of the base with our scout platoon. Like those dudes were getting in it daily. They were
the helicopters?
No, the scout platoon.
Oh, yeah.
They were going through, the shady part of town. They were doing the little more high speed stuff. And so like they had like some sensors pushed out to us, but they couldn't give us any support. And so like just the only thing else that was in the area that was on station were like, can we get a flyby or something? And that B-2 bomber was just like, I got you. I'm like, all right, cool. And this like football field sized airplane just like gets as low as he can and just like fucking kicks it. And it was so loud. Yeah. It was cool. Oh, we had this another, we were on our OP and it was like a SEAL team came out and they were going into a village like just north of it. And so like they leave like their sniper or something. He climbs on top of our tower instead of in it, and he's like doing his overlook and they go out walking. And, we're just working out, doing our thing. We built like a little prison gym and shit, and, our FO, Wood is his name. He comes running out and he's like, he has his radio and you just hear this beautiful voice. Oh, Charlie, whatever. It's a female pilot. And dude, it was just we were like fucking 7 months in. It's all we see is dudes all the time. And we just hear like this angelic voice come over the radio and we're like, everything stopped. What? Like, what is that? And Wood came out and he was like walking her on. She was an A-10 pilot. She was the fucking SEALs got into some shit. She flew so close over the top of her OP, you could have threw a football and fucked her day up. She like barely made it past the end of our OP. And she was like, all right, me coming in hot. And it just, and like, we were like, I'm going to marry her. Like, I don't know who she is, but I'm marrying that woman. Like, dude, but it's just like, that's just a regular fucking day. Like, that's why I say like the fighting season, like it's like football season. Somebody's playing. Might not be your team.
Yeah.
And so, the SEALs, they getting up on the wall, like watching them like peel, like all you see in the movies, like where they're shooting and like running, like, dude, that's real shit. Like that's peeling. And if you do it right, it is so sexy. And like they're peeling, they're shooting, their trucks fucking engaging with the 50 cal. They're on the ground and, you just hear fucking, oh, Bravo 2, strafe 1, whatever. And it just, and then she just whips that thing around and like comes back for like a second go. And like, this is like, it's football season, man. Somebody's playing, it's not our team, it might not be our team, but they're out there, brother. It was cool, man. It was a cool experience.
When you weren't doing that, what was going on? Just with a lot of boredom?
Yeah.
What did you do to kill the time for that?
We watched Pitch Perfect at least 2 or 3 times a week. Every week we were there. I'm not gonna lie. Our platoon sergeant would come over and sit with us, and we would watch Pitch Perfect on my buddy's laptop, like little, about that size. Like 12 grown fucking men in Afghanistan were like over there watching Anna Kendrick make noises with her mouth, you know? It's like crazy. Dude, we love that, but I still love it. I still watch it today.
Communication with home. Did you have internet or?
Yeah, we had internet. It sucked, but we had some internet. I bought a little Haji phone with like to get the little prepaid cards, and I would call. But like it's all like government controlled media, whatever. Like, you know, if something happens, they shut the internet off. But then, you know, it's like something little happens and then the internet shut off for 3 days, and then everybody back home's freaking out. Like, oh, you know, so and so, you know, so many soldiers were, you know, shot in Afghanistan or whatever, and we can't. They shut off the cell phone towers for the phones and everything. It's like, dude, it's like, then 3 days later, your family's like, are you okay? Like freaking out. And you're like, yeah, man, I'm fine, man. I've been working out and like eating like 4 meals a day. Like we're on the FOB, you know, this week, you know, doing refit and washing clothes and shit. And like, yeah, dude, I'm good.
Eating. What was the food like?
Oh man. The Afghans, like we had like the trustees or whatever, like on post. They took over our chow hall. Dude, that's some of the best food I've ever eaten.
Really?
We had like every Friday was like surf and turf. And they would make steak and like shrimp and shit. And they had this rice. It was probably like that long. And you could eat the rice by itself. I don't know how they seasoned it. It was just like salt and pepper or some shit. I don't know if they like wove it with their feet or whatever to give it that sauce. But the chow hall food was so good. It was, dude, you go in and get it like an omelet, and they have like a whole little station with, you know, peppers and ham and all this stuff. And when you told that old boy you wanted an omelet, you got an omelet that was like this big. You got like 2 pounds of eggs. Like, wow. That was your omelet.
Wow. And MREs when you were out, that's what you had?
Yeah. When we like our OP, we had MREs, but we had some Afghan army dudes on our OP with us too. And every now and then they would bring us like goat and rice and like foot bread and some chai tea. And goat and rice is so good. It is so good. And it's like they do something. It's like a yellow rice. And we would go and cut open an MRE bag and dump it out and then cut it in half. And they would bring like a 5-gallon bucket of goat and rice that was just for us. So, you know, an MRE bag, you cut it in half and they would fill that thing to the brim. You dump a little sriracha on that stuff and mix it up. Dude. And we would watch them boil the water. And then they would bring us chai tea like 10, 15 minutes later, and that water was colder and fresher than anything you've ever tasted before. We would watch them boil the water with no way to refrigerate it. And they would bring you ice cold water while you were working. It was cool. So actually those guys, they would bring us food.
You had good experience with those guys in that sense.
Those guys in particular.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they liked our platoon more, but we treated them like people, you know, like, we'd go over and like play soccer with them. You know, we fixed up their tower, you know, like we gave them water, we treated them good. Our guys in particular. And they got paid, and one of the guys went to, like Baghdad or whatever, and he went and got a badminton set with his paycheck. Spent his whole paycheck on a badminton set so that he could play badminton with us.
That's cool. That's cool.
They set it up, and then we went and helped them get rocks and like build like a little court. And like, dude, they would come and get us. Like, they went and spent their money on shit to do with us. It was so cool.
The leadership. The guys you worked with, how were they?
You mean on our team?
Yeah.
It's the same dynamic, and like you still have the chain of command, but like over there is different. Because over there it's like, hey, be respectful, but we all live in the same tent for 9 months. We're all just trying to make sure everybody else gets back home. And so, like, you know, your immediate leadership and stuff, like we called our first sergeant dad or grandpa. And then we called our CO his mom, you know, and your platoon sergeant's dad and your, you know, PL's mom, because, you know, it's like dad looks out after all his girls. The senior NCO, he makes sure we have water and food and, you know, all that stuff. And then, you know, the PL mom leads her girls into battle, you know, like she's like, no, we're not taking that shit from nobody, you know? And you know, no, we called our CO Bear. He was just this giant rugby dude, you know? Captain Halston. Halstein? I think I'm friends with him on Facebook. He's a huge dude, super cool guy. And so you're respectful, you know, it's, hey, good morning, sir. Good afternoon, first sergeant, you know, whatever. But it's a different dynamic, you know, like back here in the States, like, dude, if you're talking to first sergeant, you either better be neighbors or you better be fucking apologizing for whatever you did, you know? And so it's just a little different dynamic, but you know, we took a solid group of guys over there. We traded one guy that I didn't particularly care for, and it was a squad leader. And it was a good move for him career wise. And we got a younger squad leader, Picarillo, and he was this little short dude. I think he's from Boston. You know, his whole family's short and just jacked. He's a great dude too. But no, yeah, we had a great group of guys. And the leadership, like, dude, like you had to like seriously fuck up over there to get in trouble. Like,
the on the OP, how long would you be out there when you went out there?
It was like you did 3 days of patrolling, 3 days of QRF or refit, and then on the OP it was like 4 days.
So you slept out there?
Yeah, there's another tent.
Oh,
yeah. We had like a hard stand structure. We had the Crow system, the common remote operated weapon. So it was like they popped out of like a little, it's not a Tricon. It's like a Connex, like a mini, you know, trailer. And it's just big remote control gun. And you sit, you know, like you're playing a video game. We had 2 of those and then a camera, and it's like a hard stand building. And then, we actually talked to like the engineers or a truck driver or something. They brought us like a trailer air conditioner generator out there to put in our tent because it was hot as
nice.
balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the whole time I was there. It was cotton tent, either on the FOB or on the OP, or he slept on the ground, whenever, you know, napped whenever.
Talk about the rules of engagement. It changed a little bit for the guys coming in after you.
Yeah,
give me that line.
I mean, it was kind of, there had to be like an immediate threat, or like they had to be actively like shooting at you or something for us. Like it was silly. Like this guy was following us, mirroring us, and taking pictures, and we heard gunfighting in the distance. We couldn't even like talk to the guy. We couldn't do anything. You know, we couldn't show a force. We couldn't arrest him. You know, we couldn't, you know, point a gun at him. You know, you couldn't scare him off. Nothing. It's like he's literally sending them pictures of where we are and sending them coordinates. Like, we're going to get mortared and all die right here. And there's nothing we can do about it. Supposedly what I was hearing is right after we left, the guys that came in and replaced us, they slacked up a little bit. But I think that kind of had something to do with their leadership too. Our battalion commander, that was like the base commander when we were there, he was kind of a pussy. He was old. It was his last tour. He was going to retire, and you know,
he just didn't want to deal with anything.
Dude, yeah, he didn't want to. He wanted to be a successful rotation for him was just no casualties, and we ended up having, you know, a few people that got shot. But it's like, dude, it's like we're playing the ultimate game of like fuck around and find out. Like, we're here to find out. You know, it's like, shit, dude, we started making bets on like who wasn't coming home on patrol day. I'm like, I bet you get shot in the leg. Like, you're getting shot in the arm. Like, I hope you fucking step on something. You're pissing me off, you know?
But everybody made it back though?
Yeah, from our platoon, yeah. From our company, we had 2 guys, that didn't. Well, we had one guy from our company that didn't. His AG got shot. He made it back. And then one of the guys from this platoon didn't make it back, just from our battalion, but he got shot in the head, and they managed to get him out of Afghanistan. I think they got him to Germany and got his family to Germany in time for them to see him before he passed. So that they went out of their way, which is pretty fucking cool. But
when you went home, where did you fly into?
Dude, same. We just fucking did the same reverse thing. flew in, went to Romania, hung out for a few days, hopped in Romania. I think we hit Ireland, fueled up, and flew right back into Fort Drum.
What was your take? What's your takeaway from all that?
I don't know, man. It's just it's almost, I know it's my life, but it's almost just like a cool story to tell around the water cooler, you know? It's like, and I don't really talk about it too much. Like every now and then, like something will spark a memory, but you know, like I don't sit at home and, you know, drink and just be like, oh, the war, you know? I just sit and drink and like, this guy at work's really pissing me off. So, you know, I don't wear it on my sleeve, you know? But I have started making the joke. I was talking about a girlfriend earlier. She gives me a lot of grace, but I started to now where she's like, you know, she'll say, oh, why does something have to be so hard or whatever? And, you know, I'd be like, you know, it was hard, the war, you know? And so, you know, I kind of have my fun with it. But I don't really talk about it that much because, dude, like I've been at bars and stuff with people and like dudes want to talk about it. And you can tell that they're fucking lying.
Oh, like they want to tell stories about it that didn't really happen?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. And, you know, we're just like, oh, well, my buddy said that he was in this and that, and they did this. And I'm like, that's not what those guys do. Like, I got saved by Captain America.
What's that story?
So it was like during elections, right? And there was this SF compound, and they had the medevac or whatever on their little landing zone. And it was during the election, so we flew over there with them for a week or so, and that's all we did was guard the flight line for the medevac. It was during the elections because they had, you know, locals.
Elections in Afghanistan. Yeah.
Elections in Afghanistan. They had some locals going in and out, and, you know, they were doing all that fast, you know, high speed, secret squirrel shit, you know, whatever. And it was like one night, I was like walking over to their gym or something, and one of their like commanders or something approaches me and he hands me a little card. And I was like, what is this? It's a casualty card. He said, you can't talk. And I was like, okay. He's like, read the card. I was like, I had like both of my legs blown off at the knee. My arm was shot to shit. I had a sucking chest wound and like I had severe head trauma. It was like a drill.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So he handed me a casualty card. That's what's wrong with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, fuck, all right. And so, you know, I go and sit down against, you know, whatever is nearest to me. And we hear the alarm go off and they're like, this is a drill or, you know, whatever. And fucking people, it's like stepping on an anthill. Everybody's running out. Fuck, where's everybody? You know, you got to get accountability. And so they find me and I'm like, you know, according to my casualty card, you know, I'm all fucked up. And they're like, where's so-and-so? And I just like look at them. They're like, what the fuck? And they're like, what's going on? Like, everybody's freaking out. I'm just like, I can't, dude, I can't talk. Like, I don't know how I'm still fucking alive right now. Like, this is the worst casualty card I've ever gotten in a training exercise. Like, this was real life. I'm fucked. Like, just help the next guy. And so, like, you know, they get me on like a litter and stuff, and they get me over to the tent with like their actual doctors because, you know, they're special forces. They have real, you know, doctors in there. And this guy comes in just, you know, like strongman build, like, you know, kind of fat, you know, whatever, big burly beard and shit. And he's wearing a blue shirt with a Captain America shield on it. And he's one of the SF guys. And he comes in and, you know, the doctor's like fucking like putting shit on my legs and stuff, you know. And he's doing this, like the little bag to breathe for me because I had a chest wound.
Just in the air.
Yeah.
Just pretending.
And so, you know, he's like, hey, he's like, you know, you got to breathe for this guy or whatever. And so the Captain America guy is sitting there talking. And it turns out like he like drugged me up there too. And he's like sitting here and they're talking and he like stops. And I just, he goes, oh, fuck, my bad. And he starts pumping it again. And so they're like, all right, you know, drill, next part of the drill, whatever's, I'm stable and they got to carry me out. So he grabs the corner of the litter. He grabs the litter while still squeezing my bag, you know, like, and they go walking out and his commander's like, yo, he's like, you have to have your gear on. Like you are going outside of the compound to put him on the, like you have to be geared up. And so they set me down and he's like, fuck. He runs away. So I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, you know, he's like, don't move up here, back. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, whatever. And then some other guy comes up to grab the litter to get me out of there. And he comes back around the corner. Cool guy helmet, tiny plate carrier, fucking suppressed MP5. comes running around the corner, fucking let go of him, snatches me off the ground with one hand, starts pumping my other thing and just like hauling ass with me to the thing. And I'm just like, this is crazy. He had a Captain America shirt on and we got done and like, he helped me like stand up and, he took all the shit off my legs or whatever. And he's like, hey, right on, brother, whatever. And he's like, don't let that shit happen in real life. All this, he's just the coolest dude ever. I had no idea what his name was, nothing, but it's just,
that's cool.
Captain America, bro. It was, that's like probably one of my favorite stories. Cause like, he was so like involved, and he's like, you can't take him. Like, you don't have your shit on. He's like, don't move. Goes hauling ass across this giant little thing they got, throws all his shit on, comes hauling ass back just to carry me like 10 more feet for them to say, all right, the drill's done. But dude, he was the coolest guy ever. And pretty much we went there. We were there with him for a few days. We spent like a month on a SEAL compound, like pulling their security for him. And everybody that we went and worked for, whenever they brought us back to Shank, their commander came with them and he went to our commander and said, if they send anybody else out there, it better be us or don't fucking send anybody. Cause they had already had like 2 or 3 other guys out there before we got there. And they had took over like a small town and like, built it up, and their mosque or whatever.
Oh yeah.
That's where they stored like their energy drinks and protein shakes and shit. And they gave us access to it. Like they had washing machines out there. Like, they had it set up out there, dude. And, their commander was, just cool as shit. Like he would walk around and just chat with us. They'd come out of the tower and like bring us, sodas and stuff. Like just super great guys, but we didn't like abuse it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey, we poke in their talk. Like, hey, me and these 2 dudes are going to go to the gym. Like, is it cool if we grab a protein shake? Just one each, we're not trying to rate it. And they're like, no, yeah, just take like a flat with you and put it in your room.
Oh, that's cool.
So that, whenever you go work out, you can just hit it and then, just be mindful. Like they gave us an inch and we only took that inch, you know what I mean? And, they're just super cool dudes, man.
Sound like you really had a good group of guys you were with.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, they were great, man.
Was it what you thought? I mean, in hindsight, when you signed up?
It was better than what I thought.
Don't do this at home, people.
Yeah. I'm a professional.
It's better than what you thought.
It was better, like, in a sense that, like, you see other movies, oh, yes, sir, no, sir, blah, 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 all the craziness. And, it's like, my squad leader, brand new, Private Hinds, E1, no rank, no insignia. Like, the first 2 weeks I was there, my squad leader, this is like 12-year E6, came in my room to do a room inspection and then just laid on my bed and took a nap. And I'm like sitting there playing Xbox and he's like literally like this on my bed with his boots hanging off because my bed was made, and he didn't want to put his feet on my bed, and he just laid down and took a nap. And I'm like playing Xbox. He just snaps up and I'm like, is everything okay? He was like, fuck you. And then gets up and like just walks out of my room. So, there's times where like they instill it in, it's like, yes, specialist, no specialist, yes, sergeant, whatever. But then, there's other times where it's like, hey, like, it's like Tropic Thunder. It's like, I'm just a dude disguised as a dude playing another dude. Like,
yeah,
we were all just, we were all just dudes, At the end of the day, we had people, everybody lived in the barracks. Like your boss was your neighbor in the barracks.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right.
Everyone was real.
He spends the day making you fucking sweat and miserable. And then, 2 minutes after you get off work, he's already changed clothes, knocking on your door like, hey, get dressed. We're going to eat. I'm like, fuck, what? And, it's, hey, my name's, Gomez. Let's go.
Let me ask you. So you everybody's got everybody's back over there. You felt like that.
Yeah. As long as you're not a piece of shit.
Yeah.
People will go out of the way for you.
Do you miss that?
It's so different. It's so different. Just like the like people, I said before, I was a guest speaker at a fundraiser and, it's a lot of training on telling you how to leave and go and do what we did, but there's not a whole lot to get you ready or train you or whatever to come home. like, you can't respond, or you have to really think about how you're going to respond or react to something, because it's like, you go from max effort, and that's the minimum effort, to, like, my thing is, I hate being late. Like, this military is like, fucking on time is 15 minutes early. It's like, you get in the civilian world and it's like, all right, cool. You're a supervisor, and one of the guys that you're over, he shows up 5 minutes late. Dude, what the fuck? Where were you? We've been working for 20 minutes now. You're late. And they're all like, you have to really watch how you react, because it's like, okay, cool, we'll write him up. Well, what's a write-up gonna do? Dude, write me up, bitch. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's what you're gonna do? You're gonna fill out a piece of paper that said I hurt your feelings because you showed up late? I was like, try just not showing up late. There's an idea. You know what I mean? But like, when you start like, and I've been having this conversation a lot lately, it feels like common sense is not common anymore. And it's
True.
like, in this whole, everybody wants a job, but nobody wants to work. All right, you know why they're not paying you fucking $30 an hour? Because you can't show up on time. Hey, we need, somebody to stay late, or hey, come in Saturday and, can we get this done? No, I'm not. I don't get paid enough for that. All right. Well, there's making a good living, and then there's working yourself to death. And if you work yourself to death to make good money, you're not making good money. You're just working yourself to death. But it's like, hey, if you know there's a spot open for like a supervisor or something, hey, you're broke anyway. You want to get a couple hours on Saturday? No, man, I don't get paid enough for that. All right, well, I'm going to overlook you for the supervisor position now, because, no, we don't want you to, we don't want to work you to death, but you're not dependable. Hey, we need 4 hours from you Saturday. What are you going to do? Drink too much Friday and sleep in a little bit? Show up hungover, dude. I don't care. We need 3 or 4 hours. And like, that shit blows my mind, because, dude, we would drink until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then we would be standing in formation at 5:30 ready to run 7 or 8 miles without stopping. And it's like, oh, you want to drink and enjoy your Friday? Motherfucker, we drank and enjoyed every day that ended in Y.
So, from friends that you made over there that came home,
yeah,
have you had this discussion with them? I mean, I would think this is a pretty common thing when guys come home.
Well,
I've heard versions of this from lots of people.
I mean, I've kept in touch with like a couple, and just here and there, but I'm not like a super big people person, man. I haven't really.
Yeah.
I could have been better, a lot more of the people that I knew died back here than over there, for sure. And like, that's a whole nother can of worms, but
it's common. That's a really common thing.
One kid was found with like vodka leaking out of his mouth. I've never heard of somebody drinking themselves to death before. He didn't choke like on his vomit. He literally, it was just drank
like drowned
himself
in vodka.
Essentially, yeah, and just in alcohol, period. And there's one guy, like, he hung himself. It's like, and it was all like afterward. Like, one guy, like, he was going through it or something, or I don't know how it is, wife and kids, they just decided to split, and he decided to split too, it's just different, like, and I assume, it would be like, oh yeah, we've been buddies since college, whatever. Like, this is essentially, what it was. Like, we were a fraternity, and so, like, I always joke, but I know, like, right now, if I said it was like, oh, like, I could call my boy AJ, that my gunner, and he'll get on his motorcycle and drive it from Texas and get here as soon as he can, and he'll show up ready to do whatever we need to do.
Yeah.
And so, it's just kind of, it's how the relationship, or how you develop it. Like, we recently like reconnected again, and, like, he's been sending me like reels on Facebook, like funny stuff. And, we talked on the phone, and, but he knows too, like, it's that we can, hey, if something's going on or if I'm just not feeling right, I can call him. If I need to go right a few wrongs, I can call him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I'm sure there's probably a couple people, but it's a lot of people, like, how they, I guess, adapt differently to the civilian world too. Like, I'm obscenely violent at the drop of a hat, but I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, you learn how you hopefully with self-reflection and, whatever you have to do, but you learn how to control that switch, that side of you. And you have to figure out how to adapt it to the world that we're in now, we're not in the army anymore. We're not going over, we're not fighting. So, like you can't, you have to figure out how, okay, cool, from Hulk smash to, all right, well, I can probably get a lawyer. You probably screwed up. Like, I can still probably ruin your life without touching a hair on your head.
Right.
You have to, and I guess that kind of goes with, sorry, I've been playing with this. Like the different, simple yet complex. It's like, okay, cool. Like you have to, like, this is the fight now. You have to adapt to that. You know what I mean?
Would you say that's your own version of PTSD?
No, I have my own version of PTSD. I mean, shit, they gave me a free dog, but
I mean, that seems similar to a lot. I mean, I'll tell you, a lot of guys, they come home, they're angry at the drop of a hat, and they feel like that's related to that,
No, I mean, that stays. Like, I got pissed off in traffic on the way here, It's like fucking, I could, fucking Prius cussed me off. Like, she saw that truck I was in. Like, like but it's like a split second thought, It's just like.
That's the thing is, all that stuff has to affect you, right? Everything, all that training and everything, they're training you for this thing, and coming back to real life is a completely different can of worms.
Yeah, and that's like, I'm going to adjust this a little bit.
Yeah.
That's why I was like saying, like, they don't teach you how to come home. Yeah. And like, luckily, like, but there's also a lot of resources.
Yeah.
That are free.
Have you tapped into some of those?
Yeah, dude.
What would you, the dogs?
I got him. Well, my dog, yeah.
Yeah.
I got Ace for free. I got him because I found, I was told about an organization that offers free therapy. They cover, a couple of sessions, and then, you make that's too high now. Then you make an arrangement. And so my therapist, and she was like, what can I do to help you? I was like, my good buddy made me sit down. Like, he was my boss. I was personal training at a gym, and I was the head trainer, and I worked for like the area manager, and his name's Isaac. And he just one day, like, he was like, I had my computer because I worked for an engineering firm with my dad too. So, doing a little bit of drafting work, and in between clients, I was, dicking around on my computer. And he made one day, he was like, you're not getting up until you apply. He's like, motherfucker, you need help. And I was like, all right, cool. And in my it was like, I filled it out, whatever. It's like my shit's, all service related, combat related, whatever. And, I texted the therapist that I found, through HickStrong. His name is Mike. It's him and his wife. Their son was a sailor, and just the lack of help. He took the hard way out. And so they started a nonprofit to try to help other people not do that, and just get help, and they raise money, and that's what it is. They pair you with somebody, and they pay for the first couple of sessions. Fantastic people. They got me with my therapist, and I just said, I was like, all right, cool. So apparently I need like a doctor's note. And so I was talking to the owner, Piper, of Healing for Heroes, where I got Ace from. And I was like, I have a therapist that I'm seeing. She's like, that's fine. She's like, that works. She's like, if she can write you a letter or whatever for the files, and, because they place service animals for, specific reasons. Now, granted, like I was talking to my therapist for about 6 years, and, 12 sessions. I was talking to her like once a week. So I ate up those 12 sessions pretty quick. she was already donating her time. She worked out, a price with me, and it wasn't, her normal.
Right.
It's not, oh, you get a few free sessions and then it's $250 an hour. Good luck.
Right. Right.
There's stuff out there.
But that all has helped.
Oh yeah.
A lot.
Tremendously, dude. Tremendously. Shit, I'm still good friends with Piper. I got Ace. I went back home for like 2 or 3 weeks. I packed up all my shit and went back over to Peachtree City, just south of Atlanta.
Yeah.
And went and for like 6 months volunteered. We went all the way up to Oklahoma to get a bunch of Bernedoodles that were
so you were helping train
donated.
the dogs in?
I was doing like some of the in-house training and stuff, and I was going to doing events and like, fundraiser stuff and, just.
One of the things I've seen from just putting yourself out there, going outward instead of inward is a huge deal to.
Dude,
you know what I mean? Being helpful.
I try. So like, that's one of the things that I found is like, I heard it the other day. It's like, there's ice in my veins, but it's the big heart that I have. And, I firmly believe that the worst kind of hate is built inside of someone that has a good heart. And so, I like doing stuff for other people. I love helping other people. I wish my parents would have taught me about money growing up. Because, dude, it's like, I don't give a fuck.
About money?
No. I don't make enough money to not give a fuck about money is the problem. Right. But, it's like people, it's like, oh, I'm doing this, whatever. Or it's like, hey, man, it's like, I got paid today. Let's go. Where are we going? Fuck, I don't know. We'll go buy a brand new fishing pole, fishing lures, whatever. We'll buy a case of beer. We'll get a cheap cooler. We're going to go fucking drop $400 to not catch anything and just get shit-faced. You know what I mean? Or like, oh, well, trying to do this or whatever. Like my friend's dog, she had a GoFundMe because he had to get like surgery or something for cancer. And like one of the milestones was like $1,000. And I saw it and it was like a little over $700. And so there's a drop of a hat and I was like, all right, cool. Well, here's $300. You're at the 1,000 mark. Like fucking keep going. Keep me updated. Let me know if he gets help. You know what I mean? Like, let me know how he does. And so, it's like, it's like the people I know, but like I ran into, we ended up being friends, but it was just like somebody on Facebook. It's like, my truck, whatever. And, we needed a part and she couldn't afford it. So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, here, let's just go down to the parts store, O'Reilly's, whatever it is. Oh, O'Reilly, and, we got, it's like 150, like $200, something, I was like, all right, cool. We got it, put it on, turn it on, whatever, it works all cool. It's like, I can't pay you for this. I'm like, I didn't do it so that you could pay me. Like, I knew you couldn't pay me whenever I had to pay for the part. You know what I mean? I'm trying really hard and I preach it, but I'm not always, the best, but like, just be a good person. Like, what does it say? Is like, be the boss that you want to show up to work for.
For sure.
Dude, be that be the person that you want. If you see me on the side of the road changing my tire, be the person that somebody wants to stop and help. And now I get it. You can't always do that. And everybody has their own shit in life going on. You can't always be smiles and sunshine, but it's free to be an asshole, but it's free to be nice too. It costs nothing. People don't like doing the right thing because it usually takes a little bit more work. But that you put in that little bit of extra work, like, dude, you feel so good about it.
Healing to do that.
Dude, every time I do something good, it was like, I went fishing the other day. I was kind of going through it, dealing with my grandpa. He was sick. He had a massive heart attack and I think it was like 2 seizures. That's what landed him in the hospital. And I just, I had my fishing pole in the truck and I just left work. I was like, fuck, I can't be here. And I had nothing going on anyway, so it was fine. And my boss, he's super understanding. And I pulled up to go fishing and I pull my, pole out and I just hear some kid, hey, good luck. But cool, thanks. Little dude on a bike, little fishing bag, fishing pole. Went walking across the bridge to go to this place and I heard the bike coming up. And I was like, hey, it's like, well, right now, like they're going for spinners, just nice, slow retrieval. Don't let it sink too much. And, if you go right over there, that's where that's where you're going to have the best luck with it and everything. You know, it's like, well, I just got my little Rapala on here, you know, it's like I'm on a long lunch break and just trying to clear my mind, but thanks, you know. I'll go try the spot, you know. And the kid just followed me over there, you know, on the bike, you know, started fishing next to me, or just talking to me. Like, yeah, man, you know, I have it's all I got in here is spinners. If you want one, just let me know. Like, I got all kind of, you know, this, that, and, you know, like, oh, over here's a good spot, and, you know, this, that, and the fourth. And I was just like, I could be a fucking serial killer, and this kid has no idea. This kid's just over here being a good person, you know what I mean? Just out wandering around fishing alone. Somebody else showed up to fish, you know? And I like took it like he was digging in his bag or whatever, and I like took a selfie and sent it to my girlfriend. It was like, apparently I made a friend today, you know? Like, but you know, I love telling like the stories, like, you know, anytime I like meet somebody or like make a friend or like do something nice, you know, I want to talk about it, but I'm not going to put it on Facebook or record.
Yeah.
I did a good thing today. Look at me. You know, it's just like, hey man, like, I've been going through some shit with my ex, and, you know, I haven't seen my kid, and I'm dealing with court, and my grandpa, and, you know, like, work sucks, and I'm trying to go back to school, and my dog's an asshole, and, you know, like, it's like, dude, it's like something good happened today. Can't fucking wait to tell you about it, you know? It makes you feel good. Like, it's what you get to help people. Helping people is so fucking rewarding.
Yeah.
But you have to do it because you want to help people, not because you want it to be rewarding. If you try to help somebody expecting a reward, you're just going to get mad. It's going to suck. You know, they're going to be
it's something you can't really fake to yourself.
The most okay people that are so fucking annoying are the people that I met that I wanted to help just to help. And it's, well, I just giggled, you know, I just laughed, or I just, you know, carried the conversation, whatever, and I helped them get on their way. Like, if I had talked to him whenever I was just trying to have a beer, I would have gotten a fight, you know, like, shut up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then it's like, you know, oh, flat tire, and, you know, it's mom and like 4 kids in the car, and, you know, everybody's screaming and it's hot, and, you know, fucking whatever. It's like, hey, cool, I got this, you know, do your thing. Everybody needs a hand every now and then. But, you know, like, you don't do anything for a reward. You know, you wait at a stoplight so an old person can make it through the crosswalk. Don't honk. Don't do anything. If you see an elderly person trying to throw that shit and park and help them walk across. You know what I mean?
Sure, for sure.
Like, just be a good people. You know what I mean? And like I always say, it's like, if I joke around and I talk shit to you, I like you. You're good people. I know that if I needed a shirt, you'd take yours off and give it to me.
Yeah.
And the vice versa.
Yeah.
But like, if I tolerate you and I just kind of, whatever, you know, blah, 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 like, I don't like you. I don't, you know, you're not, nothing you've done is, you know, good people. And I guess that's maybe from the military, you know, like we used to talk so much shit to each other. But we literally die for each other, you know?
Yeah.
And so like when it kind of, you know, translates over into like the regular world, you know, it's like, what's up, shitbag? Well, that's not very nice. I'm not very nice. Why are you fucking late? You know, like, you know, just like there's a very clear difference between, you know, just joking around and like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Sorry. But.
So you glad you went? You glad you signed up?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it definitely, there's a bit more to the story, but I'm glad I did because I now know exactly what I'm capable of. I went through like a trial and tribulation. Like I fell asleep rucking, and I was holding like a rubber duck, like the training gun, in my hand. No sling. I fell asleep while I was walking. 45-pound bag on, holding a gun in my hand. Fell asleep. I woke up because I had like tripped. And it has been like 200-300 yards. I couldn't see what I saw when the last time I put my head down. It's like, I know exactly what, you know, I'm capable of doing. And I know that like your mind gives up long before your body does. Like just embrace the suck. You know what I mean? And like, not necessarily like a super like, oh, be physical and do all this crazy shit. But like, dude, it's like, just don't give up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just keep going.
You can do hard things.
Oh, dude, you can, the human body can do stupid things. And like we're talking about like helping people, like doing like whatever that fucking drug your brain makes whenever you do something, you get that.
Endorphins. Yeah.
Dude, it's awesome. It's awesome. And you sit and think about, like, all right, dude, if helping one person, and you may only ever help one person, that may be the only time, you only run into one person. But dude, you will remember, you will tell that story forever. Forever. And it's because it's like you, whenever you start thinking about that, your brain will kick in and do that shit again. You're like, oh man, like, I met the coolest guy, he had a flat tire, whatever. It's like just super bad, whatever. It will recreate that, and you'll tell that'll be the only person you ever have the chance to help. And you'll tell that story to your grandkids. As an example, like, do the right thing. It feels good, man. And so, it's the biggest thing that I think, like, the military teaches you is you can do great things. You just have to set your mind to it. You can be awesome at war, but you can be awesome at other stuff too. The war part of it is just, you could probably do whatever you decide to do in extremely stressful situations. You could be like a professional ping pong player, but you could go to somewhere like Romania or like some war torn country, and high stress situation, and, beat somebody's ass at ping pong still, you know what I mean? It'll give you determination, like a drive. It'll give you just perspective. If I survived that, like, fuck, I'm going to make it through this. Because I used to say all the time, huge thank you to my girlfriend, because like that was me. I was so disgustingly, like, giddy optimistic. Like, I've had some of the worst things in my life happen to me recently, and I'm like, it's okay. Like, fucking, and people are like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, dude, it happens. I'm not going to dwell on it. It's like, okay, today's a new day. That's the worst thing that could happen, and it happened, and I'm still alive. Fucking keep going. And like the last couple of months, man, I've defeated all that optimism. It's like you sit and think about it. It's like, I should have died. I should have been shot. I tried to drink myself to death. I should have died in a car accident multiple times. But I'm still here. And like, the impact of like just this shit that I'm going through with my kid, nothing mattered. I mean, I still help people. And, my girlfriend, she's bringing me back around. She's like, well, you made it through. It's fine. Like, this is just a bump in the road. And, she's doing all this, and she's going through all of her own trials and tribulations on her own. And she's helping me with mine. And it's like she's bringing it back. Yeah, like I'm a fucking problem. At the drop of a hat, I can be a fucking supervillain if I wanted to. Or I could be a fucking hero. And so, yeah, I'm glad I did it. The takeaway is, I can fucking do anything. I can do anything. I can do great, and I can do terrible things. And I have to decide which one I'm going to let control my actions. A big thing is the transition. Like, what do you do? Like, I do construction and stuff now. What are you good at? I'm really good at operating under chaos. I shot a target at 300 meters standing with a rifle, I have this completely useless skill set.
No, operating under pressure. That's a real skill set.
You gotta figure out how to make it. And I kind of hit like a low the other day. And I was talking, and I said, dude, it's like, the military is like, I want to be pushed into that cold, dark corner of my mind. That's where I fucking strive. That's where I'm good. I will be sharp and witty with my words, crisp actions. Like, that's where fucking Sergeant Hinds lives. I was a menace. And I miss that, And
yeah.
it's not something that you can just do. And I mean, you got to just be a cold motherfucker to stay there. But you got to figure out how to take that and apply it to what you're doing. Like, dude, I started working on a training program for like police and SWAT and stuff. It's like, all right, cool. I have this entire skill set. I've been out of the Army for 7 years. I'm like, what am I fucking doing? I'm doing construction, doing whatever. I'm doing enough to get by. I don't love what I do. I'm just good at it. So I started working on this program, and dude, everybody I talked to, I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to translate our tactics and their rules of engagement. This is what I want to work on. And everybody that I talked to were like, fuck yeah, that's great. My old sergeant major, he was my first sergeant that made everybody come through my room. Dude, I've been talking to him. I was talking to him like once every week. Hey, this is what I want to do. He was running me by. We were working out the logistics. We're working out everything. He knew me as, when I was a specialist, and he got pissed at me because I wanted to go to selection. He's like, you only been here for 6 months and you're already trying to fucking leave. I'm like, yeah, sergeant major. First, I'm like, yeah, this is just a stepping stone. I came to Colorado to train at elevation because I wanted to go to, special forces. Captain America saved my life. Like, I want to go hang out with that motherfucker, Maybe I'll run into him. And so, it's like, it's either go to school and learn how to do something entirely new, we free school, but like I found I'm pretty good with my cell phone. I'm maybe decent at video games. I don't know shit about computers. I'm about to do like this online like course, like certification to like do like network engineering and like cyber stuff.
Yeah.
I have no fucking idea what I'm doing, but
I could see you being an EMT as well.
I'm more of a killer, not a hiller. You know what I mean?
All right. But I'm just saying.
I am really good at.
What I'm saying is like, and that's why being a police officer too. I mean, finding a situation and making the best of that situation because you seem to thrive when stuff's going on.
Oh, dude, I tried. I went through. I tested. I did everything, and whoever the commissioning party was, whatever, for whenever I'd tried, they said no.
That in Wyoming?
Yeah.
Oh,
to be a police officer, dude, that's where my kid's at.
Well,
I left Georgia for that.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I got more skin in the game now, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I can't leave again now. And I don't want to.
You're gonna find something though.
Like there's simple creatures, man.
Yeah.
Just a beer, a sandwich, and my dog.
It's so interesting your story about the military being simple but complex. That's it's funny. I've seen some videos about just stuff happening in Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny when you say that. That's what that seems like. The stuff going on, and seeing them react to each other. And it's like, yeah, it's unbelievably complex and it's unbelievably simple all at the same time. Well, dude, thanks for coming up, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
I trailed off there.
No, that's great.
But yeah, man.
Thanks for sharing. That's real. You've had a lot of experiences, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.